Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Transforming Legal Hiring and Strategy. We have with us Jennica Bellani, Management Consultant at Vahura. In the dynamic world of legal talent acquisition and business strategy, Jennica is making a mark by bridging the gap between law and leadership. As a managing consultant, she specializes in recruitment, workforce strategy, and corporate legal hiring, ensuring organizations find the right talent to navigate complex legal landscapes. With a law degree from the University of Bristol and a strong foundation in international commercial law, Jenica blends legal expertise with strategic insight to shape the future of global capability center ecosystem. Beyond work, she is passionate about AI, talent innovation, and creating high performance team. So, welcome, Janika, today's coffee
So much
conversation.
for having me.
Okay, so let me explain you. You've got three rounds: professional journey, personal journey, and a surprise that is a rapid fire round, for which you have to be witty, fun, and quick, and you will get your inspiration, your gift, which will be autograph and sent. What do you have first? Win
Sure,
it.
sure.
Okay. So let's begin. So, friend, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal startups, SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Janika, you started a career in law and transitioned into legal talent acquisition. What led to this shift, and how has your legal background helped you in this field?
So, legal recruitment was never in my mind at all. I didn't even know something like this exists. I've heard about normal headhunters, but I didn't know there was a specific thing as something called as a legal recruitment. So it just happened to me by chance. I had a couple of friends, in fact, college mates who are still a part of Vahura. In fact, I got to know about Vahura through them. And I just, in a whim, I would say rather, I decided to have an exploratory call with Vahura, and I was quite intrigued by it. So, just as a little bit of a background, I come from a business family. So, I was always interested in the business side of things. I thought my normal career trajectory will be more towards the corporate law. And that was the plan. And that's one of the reasons also why I decided to do international commercial law, because I felt like as lawyers, and that still holds true, I think a lawyer needs to be very commercially savvy. And that is becoming the part and parcel while you're hiring professionals these days as well. But yes, I when I had the exploratory call with Vahura, I think I was very, very intrigued in terms of what the day-to-day functionality would look like. It's not just about the regular sales, what it's projected to normal people. Uh, I don't like to term myself as a recruiter, and that was one thing what my then manager told me. We are not recruiters, we are consultants. We go way over and above it. So we are more of strategic partner, and that holds true, in fact, throughout my 6 years journey right now in Vahura. I don't think I have acted like any other agency where we are paper pushers. We tend to build very strong relationships with both our clients as well as our candidates. So that's something which really, really intrigued me. And I also wanted to be a part of something which was not monotonous on a day-to-day level. And my 6 years journey has every day has not been the same for me. I can assure you that it's definitely not been monotonous. It's been challenging. There's been a steep learning curve. I feel my law degree definitely helped, because right now I am only engaging with lawyers on a day in, day out basis, whether they are my clients or whether they are my candidates in this case. And I'm able to have credible conversations with the two. So definitely that background sort of helped. So yeah, to sort of cut it short here, what started as an exploratory move turned out to be quite fulfilling and dynamic at the end of it out here.
Beautiful. So, Janika, you have worked in recruitment across various legal functions. What are the key skills that law firms and corporate legal should look for when hiring top legal talent?
So I think, give you a background and a sense of what do in-house or corporate tend to look out for here because as a managing consultant here at Vahura, I primarily look into the in-house domain. We have a separate team which looks into law firm, but that being said, we also do engage with a lot of law firm professionals as well because we've seen a lot of lateral moves happening over the last few years. From a law firm perspective, I think the mindset is definitely very different. It's out there, you're working more with senior partners or equity partners. So definitely the business acumen is what they look at. By business acumen, I mean more in terms of the technical acumen. Yes, a law firm lawyer will be working with various clients. So the mindset, what they have to do in terms of the negotiation and the engagement is very, very different. There are high stakes which are involved out there. So the legal technical acumen is definitely more important from a law firm perspective. And definitely right now, billing is becoming an important thing. So more on the BD side of things. So most of the day-to-day functionality is around there. But moving towards the in-house space, I think that's where a lot of change has happened over the last 6 years. It's not just very skill specific or very pedigree focused these days. There is a lot more which is into it, whether now I think we are looking at folks who have good stakeholder engagement, who have very, very strong interpersonal skills, who are adaptable, who can manage into a dynamic environment, and who are commercially savvy, as I mentioned earlier. So someone who is able to take certain business risk, who can handle leadership matters, who is also tech savvy, because tech is becoming such a important part and parcel of it. So with in-house, it is very, very dynamic. It is not just your regular 9 to 5 job. In fact, I know a lot of people want to move to an in-house thinking that there will be a work-life balance, but we keep telling them now that that's not the case because the business is becoming very demanding. And it is definitely, the pressures are much more varied and different. It is only getting intense as we continue to speak. And probably a few months down the line, it will be a little bit more intense out here. Depends on the economic climate as well. But yes, the pressure in a law firm and in-house really varies. So in-house definitely looks at different skill sets right now in comparison to what it used to, at least a few years back.
Wow. So, Jennica, how do you balance the business side of legal recruitment with ensuring that candidates find the right career fit?
It's a interesting and an important question. I think our day-to-day work is about finding and doing matchmaking of sorts. We are sort of like Seema aunties, you can say, but in a more nuanced field rather out here, because here you're dealing with legal professionals and they have very different demands and asks. So it's both ways, I would say right now, from a client perspective as well as from a candidate perspective. Both things are equally important at this point of time. So we have to balance it out very well. Sometimes I think on the way, it's a learning experience for us also, because many a times, even as recruiters, no matter what due diligence or screening that we do, something tends to go amiss, which is fine. It's a part and parcel of our job. But yes, I think finding a right match and a right fit has become even more critical these days, because if you're not finding a right fitment for a client, the business goes for a toss. Their entire working system goes for a toss. So it's very important from both aspects. What we are doing right now as consultants is we are asking questions both to the clients as well as the candidates. What and whys are being thrown. For example, with candidates now, we are asking, why are you making the move? What is your long-term vision? Where do you see yourself in the future? Many a times candidates come and tell us that, we are just looking at growth. But what do they exactly mean by that? If it's something of a cultural red flag, yes, maybe we can guide them with that. Or let's say if there is some kind of a micromanagement or a mismanagement coming from them hiring managers, that's something which is still can be doable. But definitely we are going and digging in a lot deeper into what's their motivation looking like. Because if their motivations aren't straight, there is nothing that we can do as consultants to help them crack the interview. Because these things are going to come out either ways when the person is questioning them. So from a client perspective, also, we do tend to do some screening in terms of what's their legal structure looking like, what's the business that they are involved in, what are the rounds of discussions going to look like. We also go to their offices personally to see how their functioning and working is, what is it that they can offer over and beyond a legal role. So right now, I can tell you it's difficult to sell a legal profile to a candidate because there is a lot of candidate fatigue in the market also. Sometimes the same roles are coming through different channels to the candidates. So we'll have to go somewhere over and above and beyond to sort of sell the role to them. So that's where we try our best to do our screening. But of course, they say when you get into the job, it's a very different picture. And everyone's tolerance and patience as a professional is diminishing. And that is the truth, the candid truth. It is diminishing than what it was a few years back. And it's good in a way because professionals know what they want, that there was no clarity earlier. So if they know and they're very fixated, I think that's where it sort of becomes a little bit of a challenge. But at least from our end, we try to balance it out in the best appropriate way because we have to look at building a long-term relationship both with the candidates as well as the clients. So that's where the difficulty also arises in sort of maintaining that balance and just continuing it over the next few years as well.
Wow. So, Janika, AI is transforming multiple industries, including legal hiring. How do you think AI will impact recruitment and talent strategy in the coming years?
There's definitely a lot of chatter about AI right now, for sure. I do keep reading a lot of articles where they say that where there are a lot of debates as well as a chatter whether AI is going to replace recruitment. Or is it going to replace recruiters and lawyers as well? That's always the first question which people tend to ask us. From a legal perspective, I think we've always told people not as yet, but you'll have to leverage it. You'll have to be tech savvy. From a recruitment perspective, also definitely AI has added that layer for us in the sense that right now 50% of the work that we used to do, like let's say 7-8 years back, that has sort of reduced just with the help of AI. So the screening, the admin, the heavy lifting, the sourcing, you can do that with the help of AI at this point of time. So for example, when I started off, I used to put out a job post. I used to get 1,000 applications. So I had to like manually go through it. Today, does that make sense? No, because I have multiple clients that I am dealing with and I have multiple deliverables to do. I cannot possibly sit till 12 in the night and go through each and every resume. So that's where AI is really helping us because it will, let's say, through these thousands of applications, the AI will probably give me a top 5 or a top 10. And that will make my work easy. But yes, the challenge then comes then in terms of the other professionals, like let's say the 900 professionals who have applied. And how do I reach out to them? So I think right now AI is coming with those in-mail messages to also sort of keep them warm. So things are getting a little bit more technical and transactional there. But at the end of it, I feel human element is definitely essential. Even though AI will give me the top 5, I will still not have an insight into the personality of the professional. So that's where I will have to go out and meet the person and really get into the psyche of my client as well as my candidate as to what is exactly driving them. Will they even be a fitment? Because I don't think cultural fitment is something that AI can possibly evaluate at this point of time. That's where the human element will come into play. From a client perspective, also, I think right now, speed, precision, a clear-cut ROI is what they're looking at. So that's where I think AI will complement us as recruiters into that because speed is all that they are looking at. Plus, like as I told you, we have multiple people to deal with, multiple deliverables. So that's also a balance that we need to keep. But yes, if I have to look at internally also, as a recruiter, if we are getting someone junior who's just starting off, I think our work is also getting very easy in terms of the training. Because earlier, like let's say if a fresher was coming and they had to like send an email, it had to go through multiple layers of approvals. Is this an appropriate tone to send it to the clients? But that is so much more easier now with ChatGPT or even a Gemini. And specifically when it comes to lawyers, the articulation and the tone and the way you're drafting emails, it is very, very important for them, where they're very finicky. In fact, we keep telling candidates, please check your CVs which you all are sending, because even if there is a small um, spelling error, they tend to get rejected at the screening level. So all of this is becoming very crucial on a day-to-day level. But definitely AI is helping us. If we don't use AI as recruiters or as professionals, that's where we will lose, because it is giving us an edge for sure.
Wow. So, Janika, my next question. The legal industry is known for being a traditional in many aspects. What innovation or trends do you see reshaping the way legal teams are built?
I would say that right now there is definitely a lot more change happening on the legal front. There is this rise of Global Capability Center, which has literally changed the ballgame right now in the legal fraternity. I think there are a lot of articles right now in terms of how GCC is booming and how legal talent is contributing to it as well. So where GCCs are concerned, definitely not a traditional method that they are using in terms of hiring, because it is not just about contract review and drafting and negotiation. There is a lot more which is coming into picture out here, which it could be ECG norms, it could be compliance, it could be the regulatory framework, data privacy. Each and everything is coming into place. So traditionally, I think when people used to hire a couple of years back, it was very skill specific. But now it is definitely changed a lot more, because you're looking at professionals who can don multiple hats at the same time. So it's not about just specializing in one aspect. You have to be jack of all trades, rather. And I think even in terms of the hiring preference, earlier it was more towards the pedigree, like what was the law college that they were coming from, or the top tier law experience, or the MNC experience that they were coming from. That's still the case. I'm not going to deny the fact, but it's changed. The mindset has definitely changed. It is right now they are looking at what is more appropriate for the business, whether there is alignment for where the professional is thinking in terms of the business goal. So that's definitely more at the forefront right now. Diversity hires are definitely right now also being considered. Earlier, that was not the case, but now people are looking at maintaining their diversity within the team. So that's another change, for sure. And yes, I think it's an interesting time because we are seeing the legal fraternity really evolving. So we are also seeing a lot of lateral hires and cross-sector hires. So there are people coming from law firms to in-house or from a different sector altogether. Earlier, it was very sector focused, but now that whole mentality is sort of changed. They're just looking at someone who is a right fitment, who will align to the business ethics, the integrity, who's empathetic. All of these factors are being considered. So not so traditional right now. It is evolving for sure.
Yeah. Because I've been seeing my coffee conversations, in especially patent side, engineers, scientists are joining law firms and building a
Yes.
career as in patents, IPR. Uh, you can check up the episode of Suvarna Pandey, and there is the person also. And there are many, I know, okay, law firms are now catering to ESG. So
Yes.
we did a panel discussion on ESG with अपना Sonal Verma from Dhirendir, Dr. Deborshi Bharat from SNR, and Sashad Banerjee is into consulting. So yes, so
Interesting
uh,
times for sure.
yeah, so yeah, thanks to Coffee. What do you say? The audience out there is also learning, and I'm also learning, and it's contributing. Okay? Like, see, uh, legal hiring had become a niche area. So lawyers are now going into legal hiring. There is one. There is another area into communications, corporate strategy. We have done apna coffee with apna Priyan Garg at camps,
Right.
Pintu Babu, uh, then law firm management, Tejas Khurana. So the list goes on because we have done 450 episodes in different series.
Yeah.
So lawyer is one. So we're excited. Seniors are also encouraging to come for the interview at the coffee conversation. They are apna. I've got positive words from the speakers. कि भाई speak. The partners are promoting them. Okay, go and for the podcast. So that is this Saturday I did one of, and she was very grateful. So see, I told her it is all divine. We are playing a part at the coffee conversation, giving opportunity to you, like, and there are many more juniors, seniors also coming in. Now seniors are becoming more playing part of personal branding. There's another story. You can
Definitely. Definitely.
what what watch episode of Arko Mukherjee, equity partner at JSA, how he handles that
Definitely. Yeah.
episode in-person coffee shoot. So
For
we
sure.
also learn how juniors, seniors are taking this platform for conveying their stories as well as for using for personal branding. So it's a two-way. Chalo, let's continue. So, Jenica, what are some common misconceptions about hiring in the legal industry that professionals or in-house corporate teams should be aware of?
There are a lot of misconceptions, to be honest, but I'll just probably go through some very basic ones. I think one of the common misconceptions that people always have is that legal roles are not evolving. I think they feel that it's going to stagnate at one point of time, but that is not the case. Like as I told you also earlier, with the rise of GCCs, it is evolving. There is also the option of internal mobility at times, which is given to professionals as well. So let's say if they don't want to continue on a particular stream, they can pivot as well. But this is mostly to do with GCCs. I would say with professionals generally, I think the criteria is, like as I told you, they have to be jack of all trades. So let's say if there is something which they haven't really done earlier, they'll have to do it right now in a new role. So that could be more in terms of ECG or regulatory compliance, because regulatory and compliance framework is also changing continuously. So that's something I think now a professional needs to don multiple hats, and they have to be open to that challenge. So it's very easy to say, like, let's say in an interview that I'm open to learning, but when you actually put into that situation, that's when it becomes sort of a tricky situation for the professionals. So they'll have to sort of be very adaptable um, towards that. And I think from a client perspective, when they come to us, that mindset is also sort of inbuilt that any good lawyer can do the job. But again, that's not the case. We have seen some of the best pedigree lawyers, like from the top law firm or from top law colleges, not thriving in a particular environment. This does not apply to each and every organization. Every organization functions very differently. But yes, if it's a very fast-paced environment, like let's say for instance of fintech and a startup, sometimes even a law firm professional will not be able to survive. And surprisingly to us, an in-house professional would be surviving it, or it could be vice versa also. So we've seen those situations where right now we are also telling at least the hiring managers and educating them, don't look at certain checklists on the paper, look at something over and beyond that. See whether the person is actually going to align with your culture, is capable of doing it, does he or she have the fire to pull it through. And I have seen organizations gamble and it's really worked well for them. The growth of the professional has been immense. So it's all about the leap of faith also, sometimes where the person has to take. If they are fixated, then they do get what they want. It's not that there is dearth of people out there or there's dearth of opportunities. But yes, sometimes it's good to take that leap of faith. Another thing is also, I feel that people think, and especially professionals think, when it comes to hiring, it gets very transactional. That legal hiring in itself tends to get very transactional. But again, that's not the case. It's not like any other corporate function because mindsets are changing. The urgency and the business model is changing. So even the process of evaluating or interviewing a person is really changed immensely. So earlier it used to just be like, let's say, a GC or an AGC who used to conduct interviews. That's not the case right now. A lot of professionals are going through multiple rounds of discussions. So it could be even someone like a strategy officer or an investigation officer who's conducting an interview, and they are not even legal professionals at the end of it. And you still have to converse with them. So it's also the business acumen that they are looking for at the end of it, because stakeholder engagement, like as I mentioned earlier, it's very important, at least in today's time. So you will have to have conversations with everyone within the organization and team, especially where the stakes are high. At least from a candidate perspective, if I have to shift a little out there, I think right now candidates have a lot of personal demands in terms of they are looking at hybrid models, they're looking at work-life balance. And like as I told you, we are educating them in terms of how a culture or an organization is functioning at this point of time. Flexibility to an extent is being offered, but the business is evolving in a very different speed. So that's where I think we also are educating, and I hope the audience gets educated while we are speaking. It's evolving right now. So definitely the flexibility that they're seeking may or may not be available. So again, depends organization to organization. But 70 to 80%, I feel like organizations are now getting back to normal working hours. It's becoming on-site. Sometimes the work is spilling over the weekends. So there is not 100% switch off out here for sure. Maybe better environment than what they were coming from previously, but there is also so much limitation that an organization has in general and what they can offer. So yeah, maybe from a candidate perspective, it is going to be very tricky for them while they're making their decision to whether to join the organization or not to join the organization.
Wow. So, Janika, you have had experience across different roles in corporate law and recruitment. What's one career lesson you have learned that you think every young lawyer should know?
I think unfortunately right now, and I'll give you an example for this mentoring session that I have done for, in fact, for my own college, ILS, as well as GNLU, which is in Gandhinagar, Gujarat National Law Schools. And there are brilliant lawyers which are coming out of these institutes. But there's a lot of pressure, for sure. One advice that I will give to young lawyers is definitely treat your career as a marathon and not as a sprint. Everybody is just sprinting, they're just hustling. That's something to be mindful of. I understand the pressures that people are facing. There is also a lot of personal obligation. We've all gone through it as well when we started off with our career. But at the end of it, it is not healthy also, right? Like you are following a rat race, it's become a herd mentality of sort. It's not their fault, it's just the way it has been structured. The environment is such. But this is across all, probably most of the legal colleges that we are seeing right now. That pressure is there with students. They want that to follow all those checklists, that should come from the best pedigree law schools, or they should have the best internships from top tier law firms. And, many of them, in fact, when we were speaking to them and we were conducting this session, they didn't even want to do general corporate. Maybe most of them were interested in litigation or IPR, or some were even interested in tech. But unfortunately, when it comes to campus placements, it's always the general corporate team or maybe some of these litigation teams which land up coming for hiring. And they just suppress their dreams because, peer pressure is there. Everybody's doing it, so we'll also have to do it. And then, maybe somewhere down the way, we are going to switch. General corporate seems like the lucrative field to be in. And while, yes, that may be true, it's also important to follow your passion because life is too short. And if you want to give litigation a shot, maybe it's not a well-earning stream in comparison to a general corporate stream. Go for it. I've seen a lot of my friends going for these untraditional paths, going into an HR or human resources or a human rights lawyer. They've taken those, or public policy also, as a matter of fact. They've taken these uncharted territories. They wanted to give it a shot and it's worked well for them, right? So I know probably right now easier said than done. It's very difficult to make that decision when you're at that juncture, but better to not have regrets later. So if you have that opportunity coming to you as a young professional, go for it. It's very difficult to do that otherwise. Those who are right now working probably as lawyers with 1-2 years of experience, definitely one thing what we keep telling this across all levels, whether you're a junior, mid-level or a senior professional, your network really is very valuable. The way we are structured as lawyers, our fraternity is very small and tight-knit. Everybody knows each other. So best not to burn bridges where you're going. Leave on a good note. Be honest where you have to. But yes, your network really matters at the end of it. So leverage that as well.
So, Jenica, who has been your biggest influence in your life, personally and professionally?
I would say that, usually I would want to probably say it's coming more from my parents because that's how it started off. But to be very honest, I would want to give like maybe an unconventional answer. I have not had a single person who I've drawn inspiration from. When I started off as my journey as a professional, I was doing something which was very different, unconventional. There was just my manager who was guiding me at that point of time. My parents didn't really have so much of an input to give me at that point of time. Maybe yes, from a business acumen here and there, but nothing from a professional journey. But if I have to look at my life as a whole, I think I have drawn inspiration from different people at different points in my life. And I was just told, I remember one thing is that you should be like a sponge. You should just absorb whatever you can and learn from it and make sure you don't repeat those same mistakes again as you're moving forward. And I've tried my best to do that. There have been times maybe I've made some repetitive mistakes here and there, but it happens. It's a human habit. But otherwise, I have drawn inspiration from various people. It could be from some of my college seniors. It could be from the people I've worked with in the past. A lot of my friends also. Certain behavioral things, like, whatever it has struck me, I have sort of incorporated that, and that has worked for me in my professional journey, personally also. So I've drawn from various different people. There's not been one particular person I have honestly taken it from.
Wow. So, my last question for your professional journey round: if someone is considering a career in legal recruitment, what advice would you give them, especially the young lawyers who want to start from college and go into a legal recruitment as a career? Join Vahura, for example.
We have a lot of freshers who have joined Vahura also, and they seem to be doing very well, and they've picked up the craft very well as well. In fact, when I joined Vahura, it was almost like a fresher itself because I had no clue about the industry. So for me also, I had to start everything from the scratch. The only thing I feel like now what we are being mindful for, and it's also the generation, right, that we are dealing with, the Gen Zs. They know what they want. Millennials were a bit different. We were lost and confused. Not to say Gen Zs aren't, but they know what they want and they know when to put their foot down. They will not give multiple chances, is what I have noticed. So if you want to get into the legal recruitment space, I would say go for it, but just come with a lot of clarity when you're coming into this field, right? A lot of times when we have interviewed people, they tend to sort of confuse recruitment with HR. And those are two different functions. If you're looking at something more on the HR space, then there is onboarding, exit, payroll. That's what an HR usually entails. Of course, there is talent acquisition also, but that's a separate arm to it where these MNCs are concerned. Recruitment is very, very different. We are dealing with multiple clients, we are dealing with multiple people. At times, we cannot say for sure. Like, I cannot tell you with certainty that my job starts at 10 in the morning and ends at 6 p.m. That's not the case. Many a times I have to be available at certain odd hours as well, or even be available during the weekend. So there's never really a switch off for us. So there is a continuous hustle that we have to do also. Also because we tend to meet people, both clients as well as candidates. That's not what every agency follows, but we do, just because we look at building a very long-term and non-transactional relationship. So that hustle is definitely there a lot. And if you like that hustle, that grind of being a strategic advisor, then recruitment is definitely for you. So come in with that clarity. Like, if you like to engage with people, like, that's one of the things why I interviewed at Vahura. I told them I'm a people's person, and that still is the case. If you're a people's person, you know how to manage personalities, then definitely give it a shot. The other thing is, you'll have to be very resilient in this field, because it's not a very clear-cut path. It is rocky. There will be drops, there will be a lot of challenges that you'll have to face, and this happens right at a junior level, right up to my level. Also, we are also facing challenges. There is nothing you can do about it. You'll just have to move on the next day. And the faster you move on, the better it is for you, personally, mentally, everything. Um, so yes, it is a good field, but if you want to, you are up for that challenge, because the challenge is very different out here, then I would say come, go for it, and definitely have a conversation with anyone in Bahura. We are always hiring.
Wow. Okay. Let's go to the next round and understand Jenica as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I would say, just to sort of give a background, I'm a only child, like a single child. Like, as I mentioned earlier, my parents come more from a business background. So we are Sindhis. So definitely the business comes into play out here. I think my normal trajectory, if I have to say, was more onto the business side, and maybe that would be the case somewhere down the future also, if not right away. But yes, I would say, as during my formative years, I was not at all chatty. I was an introvert. I was very much to myself. In fact, I didn't have the confidence to speak at all, the way probably I am speaking right now. One of the reasons why I got into the legal field was also to get over and overcome my fear of just speech, because was too quiet in certain ways, and it wasn't good. My parents were really worried, how is she going to survive in this mean world. So I basically actually came into the legal field also was to build on my confidence level. Plus, I was good in studies also. So I was a good student. That's how it sort of worked out. But yes, now that when I look at my trajectory, sometimes I myself don't believe that, I'm having conversations on phones, and lengthy ones. In fact, I remember I couldn't even pick up a phone at one point of time. It was that low on confidence. I don't know, there was some fear of sorts. But yes, I think if I look back, I've come a long way for sure. And it's been my journey where I've been pretty much happy about it, the way it's been.
And you're having this coffee conversation.
And now I'm having this coffee conversation.
Yeah.
It's all worked out at
On
the end.
Zoom, at least on Zoom, but in person will be more different. Which, if you're in Mumbai, you're at the opportunity to do in person as we do only for in Mumbai. Whoever is in
Yeah, in
Mumbai, we
fact,
have
I'm
gone to.
originally from Mumbai. We moved to Pune like post my 10th standard. So originally from
Oh,
Mumbai,
okay. Which side?
South Bombay,
Where
Peach
South
Candy.
Bombay? Well, I'm also from South Bombay.
Peach Candy.
Ah, Sobo.
Yes, Sobo, the prime
Ah,
Sobo.
yeah, I know. So I'm from Vaikhala Masgar.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Chalo, let's continue conversation. Uh, so, Janika, you studied international commercial law at the University of Bristol. I'm dividing into two parts. Why you selected to go to University of Bristol, and what are your memories from University of Bristol?
Actually, Bristol was never in my mind. I was looking at other universities at that point of time. It's just that, see, I'm very instinctive as a person, and I don't know, although the other universities that I had in hand were good, it's just that I wasn't getting that feel, and a lot of things were different economically. There was Brexit, and many a times my plans also fell through as a result of it. I just felt it was never a good time to go. So when I had to take a leap of faith, I went for Bristol also because some of my cousins had studied there. So in comparison of to sort of sit and study in London, I felt Bristol was better just from a city perspective also because people who tend to like let's say go to other places like a Leeds or Manchester, and that holds true, tend to get depressed because the climate is very different. It's very far off. It can get very lonely. It's very dark. In fact, when I went with a lot of research. A lot of people told me that it's a very depressing climate. People tend to have mental health issues. There is not much happening around. So I chose Bristol also because I felt mentally I will be in a sane state. And that was true. It turned out to be also like that. It's a very vibrant city. So I chose in terms of how it was situated as well. For me, and in terms of the course, I felt it was a red brick university. So I decided to go for it either ways. So for me, it came more to do with the city, the people. When you're choosing university, it's good to see what kind of crowd is also coming at that
Yes.
point of time. Of course, you get to know the crowd much later. But because I had some assurance from my cousins who had sort of studied there, I had like that mental satisfaction. You can say, okay, it's not going to be so bad at the end of it. Otherwise, there is a lot of racism that people do talk about, and you have to be careful because it is prevalent in some universities at least. So I didn't want to be subjected to that. But of course, no matter what people say, your experience tends to be very different when you go to a particular city. So from a university as to why I went there was this was definitely one such thing. In terms of memory, I would say um, I for me, the only memorable thing that I have from there, which I strongly associate, is that I got my independence out there. That was the start of my independence. I come from a very protected family and environment. So when I went, I was always staying with my parents. I never thought of the concept of moving out until it happened to me much later. And I believe everybody should, not that you should leave your parents or anything, but you should move out and experience that for yourself. Like, I feel a lot of my personality, the start of it developed when I went to Bristol. I had no option but to survive on my own, right? So without anything. I even told my parents, please don't come and drop me. Uh, I will go and settle myself out there. So it was a huge challenge. And when I also went, I was very doubtful whether I'll survive or not, but I did at the end of it. So that is definitely my biggest memory, my biggest learning, because after that, when I joined Vahura and I moved to Bangalore, it was a piece of cake for me because I
Mm.
was already so much into that groove. It became
Mm.
easier. So today, if I have to live on my own, run a house on my own, I know exactly what to do. When I started it off, it was all as a challenge, but I learned from there. So that's definitely been carried forward, whatever I had my
Wow.
experience out there.
So you're leading to my next question. If you could live in any city in the world for a month or for a year, where would it be and why?
I think Tokyo at this point of time. It's a little bit
Oh.
like the legal fraternity where tradition meets innovation. So, I don't know. There's something about Japan that really fascinates me. Had you asked me this question a year back, I probably would have told you Dubai. Because I'm obsessed with that also. And right now, again, it's very culturally vibrant and all of that. But Tokyo is definitely on my wish list. In fact, I do want to visit it soon. Hopefully, there is no tsunami or anything which people are predicting for it.
So if you're
But
planning to go to Dubai, we have got coffee speaker out there. He's also from your community, Sindhi, Varun
uh,
Chablani, tax lawyer.
oh, yeah.
He
So
got referred to another coffee speaker, Aditya Reddy, another tax lawyer from PwC. So the cycle continues of a reference, a coffee speakers refer to other coffee speakers. So this community keeps growing.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely I feel Tokyo is something I would want to experience. And whoever's been there have always told me that Tokyo's living in 2050. I would want to experience the
Wow.
technology that they are using, and you can never get bored. In fact, people who've gone there with zero expectation want to go there over and over again. So hopefully I get the opportunity and go there sometime soon.
Wow. So, Janika, what's a hidden talent or hobby of yours that most people don't know about?
So there was a hidden talent which I think sort of got revealed in last year's offsite of ours, but not many people know that I can play billiards, snooker. Um, Not a very excellent player, I would say, but a decent one. I did get trained in it when I was much younger in my teenage years. And I wanted to, at that point of time, do something outside the creative space because I'm not so much into sports, if you ask me honestly. But billiards was something I really wanted to learn. And there was a teacher who was teaching, and I learned it. And surprisingly, I still remember because I was able to play last year during offsite and able to shoot some balls. But yes, that's definitely one thing that a lot of people don't know about me. So yeah.
Wow. So, during our research, we found that you were also part of Lions Club, as I'm the president of my Lions Club Mumbai Shining. Do you still continue doing any social work projects or social impact?
Honestly, no. When I joined Lions was right after my graduation. In fact, I became a Lions member because a lot of my far off relatives were Lions member. At that point, I remember I was a rebel of sorts. I didn't want to get into Lions. I wanted to get into Rotary, but Rotary didn't happen for me. And Lions happened very quickly for me. So that my main motivation to join Lions Club was also because see, it's easier to give donation and all of that. But when you're in Lions Club and you'll resonate with this, you're doing it right there
Mm.
on the field. You're helping out the community, you're helping people. And I was fortunate that in that couple of years that I was a part of Lions Club, I was actively involved in, like, let's say, distributing whether it was clothes or it was food to construction workers, kids going to their school, going to dialysis center. There were different things that we were involved in. So it's a great, great initiative. Of course, when I got into the professional field, it became difficult for me to continue. And in fact, when I quit was right before I went for my further studies also. But that being said, I still am very much into community giving. I do believe there's a rule in my house. If there is a new outfit coming in, the olds have to go out. So if that is, we tend to give it to churches, to different drives. I know my mother is also involved in different community actors, so maybe not as a part of Lions just as yet, and I do intend to get into it also again. But if and when time permits, I'll definitely would want to continue in it. It's just that I don't want to do something where I'm not able to give my 200%. So that's where I'm, I think, helping the community out in different ways wherever I can and whoever I feel is needy, because I know at least it's something which is visible to my eyes. It's not just going anywhere and I don't know what is happening with it. So yeah, I'm involved in different activities that ways.
Mhm. So, Jennica, do you enjoy reading or watching movies? Any favorites that have inspired you?
I am right now trying to do both, read as well as, I mean, everybody watches Netflix, but the problem is that at the end of it, you're just consuming information. There's no retention or application as such. So I have, in fact, started to get into the reading bandwagon again. In fact, it's been happening over the last 1.5, 2 years, where I give myself that target. Like, you have to read at least 2 books a year, which is still less, but slowly getting there. The last book which I can say which I read, which I really liked, was Palace of Illusions, which I'm obsessed with Mahabharata, I would say. So, learning from Draupadi's take was very interesting. In fact, I would suggest people to definitely read Palace of Illusions. Right now, I'm reading Laws of the Spirit World. Um, Again, very late to the whole reading game, but a lot of good reviews that I've heard about it. And since I'm a
Wow.
little spiritual, I feel it's a good time to read
Yeah.
that book for sure. But I can tell you, when in terms of movies, there was this one movie which I watched over and over again when I was going for my further education. I was not confident, like as I told you, whether I'm going to manage on my own or not. And that was the movie Queen by Kangana Ranaut. I've got so inspired by Kangana Ranaut. I was like, if she can do it, so can I. And yes, I think that movies, I can still watch it. It was definitely an inspiration for me to like forge my own way and survive without any support.
Wow. So, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
I think personally, right now, my main motto is health over hustle. And I think right now, wherever I'm reading, a lot of professionals are prioritizing that as well. So for me, health doesn't just entail physical health, it also involves and entails mental health as well, because that's also very important at the end of the day. I think over the last few years, I have just solely focused on the professional aspect, right? So for me, I think somewhere my personal goals took a back seat. My health, I felt, also took a back seat. But this year has been all about my health. I have made a lot of changes and incorporated a lot of changes in my lifestyle also. So that's what I'm saying, hustle over health, because to just get rid of hustle, it's very difficult. I've been such a hustler. I've enjoyed it so much that I think it's right now the stage that I am at. Hustle, yes, it'll continue to happen. That's still going to be the part and parcel of my professional goal for sure. But right now, at least it's health over hustle for sure.
Wow. So, last one. This will be a googly one. Describe Jenica in one line.
Hmm. There are two actually. One will be not at peace for sure. At rest, but not at peace. Um, the second will be forging her own way through determination and vision. That will be the second one. And that will probably be the appropriate one also to describe me. I'm still forging my own path, but with some vision, at least.
Wow. So, let's go next round and have some fun. The rapid fire round. Your go to comfort food.
Cheesecake, blueberry
Wow.
cheesecake from Le Plaisir.
Your favorite color.
Blue.
Okay. Uh, a mentor or leader you look up to.
My manager right now, Vani Jain.
Okay. You're a
Actually, there's
morning
one
person.
more, Balanand Menon also. He's our partner. He's also someone I really look up to.
Wow. You're a morning person or night owl?
Night owl, not a morning person. Trying to become a morning person.
Okay. Best piece of advice received?
Mm, I think the one that I mentioned earlier, that you should have continuous learning for sure. Be a sponge. Try to take in everything and then apply it wherever you can. So that was the best piece of advice that I got.
Wow. Your favorite Sindhi cuisine?
I'm not a fan of Sindhi curry. I know people are going to
I
definitely
don't want
hate
that.
me for that, but I love tuk. I love sai bhaji. So
Wow.
any other Sindhi cuisine, but I'm not so much of a fan of Sindhi curry.
Sindhi
I know a
curry.
lot of people expect me or they get shocked when they hear that, but
But
I love the tuk and the
in
ka.
any culture, there's so many food varieties. So why stick to one which is popular? You can have your popular things.
Yeah.
Your favorite dessert?
Dessert, like as I told you, cheesecake for sure.
Ah,
But
sorry,
from
that
a
was go to
specific,
temple.
yeah, from a specific place.
Wow. Tea or coffee to recharge?
None. I'm not a tea or a coffee drinker. I have green tea, but if that comes into the bucket of it.
Yeah, why not? Let's
Yeah.
face it. So you did well, and here's a book, Shaping the Agency Life for Future, which will be autographed and sent to you. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation having with Jennica Bellani. Uh, from corporate law, she has now transitioned to legal hiring. Yes, legal hiring is all about people, persons, all about strategic advising, guiding the people, understanding business, and it's matchmaking. As she shared in the earlier conversation, it is not the role. Jokingly, she said, "I'm a Seema's auntie," but no, it has become now serious. Legal hiring has now become very big. Yes, international, it was there. Now there are firms, companies like Vahura and others, people are given a new dimension to legal hiring, which is very different because lawyers and in-house corporate legal people have their own mindsets because each one carries their own requirements, and Jenica is handling the in-house corporate legal hiring. So anyone from the a corporate legal company side, they are looking for GCs, director legal, senior manager legals. She's the one. Her details will be there in the caption. And if you want to be featured like Jenica, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn page, and subscribe to the Coffee Corner Show. There are 450 plus coffee speakers sharing their interesting journey, stories, where they have been and where they will be going. And this is what a speakers brings to the table. And we wish them all the best for 2025. And look forward, we'll be coming up with this, having a panel discussion on for Mother's Day, managing family and career. So yes, women and epitome managing both things. So look forward. It will be happening soon and dedicated for this Mother's Day. So thank you and meet over coffee conversation with a cup of coffee. I can
Thank you so
understand
much
there are
for having me.
speakers out there who have their own favorite beverages, but it's all right. It's all about having conversation with your favorite beverage. Mine is coffee, by the way. I have to have coffee. So thank you.
Thank you
Take
so much for having me.